In a courtroom heavy with silence, where every breath seemed to echo off marble walls, justice finally spoke, and it spoke with finality. David Phelps. A name once associated with talent and acclaim, now forever etched in infamy. After a harrowing trial that held the nation captive, he was convicted of unspeakable crimes and sentenced to life behind bars, without the hope of parole. But how did a man like Phelps fall so far? What secrets did the evidence drag into the light? This wasn't a moment of madness. It wasn't a crime of passion. This was cold, calculated, chilling. The prosecution laid bare a story of manipulation, cruelty, and control. They painted a portrait of a man who meticulously orchestrated every move, leaving behind a trail of shattered lives. For weeks, the courtroom became a stage where truth battled deception. Witness after witness took the stand, some trembling, others unflinching. Digital forensic experts revealed damning data, incriminating emails, disturbing search histories, and undeniable physical traces. Then came the clinchers, grainy but clear security footage, DNA matches, and a confession, recorded and undeniable. Each piece added weight until the full picture became impossible to ignore. The defense fought hard. They reached into Phelps' past, speaking of trauma, of mental illness. They cast doubt on the process, called out supposed bias. They raised questions, but not enough answers. The jury listened. They weighed. And in under 48 hours, they returned with one voice, guilty on all charges. What followed was a sentencing hearing soaked in raw emotion. The courtroom held its breath as families of the victims stepped forward. A mother, her voice shaking but clear, stared down Phelps and whispered, "You stole a life. You destroyed futures. And now, you'll vanish into the very system you tried to outwit." Phelps was granted a final moment to speak. His words were debated, some heard remorse, others denial. But none of it mattered anymore. The judge's voice was unyielding. Life in prison. Without parole. Your actions were intentional. Devoid of mercy. This court will not forget. Outside, crowds gathered. Some mourned. Some cheered. Many simply stood in silence, holding photos and candles. The verdict brought a sliver of closure, but not peace. For most, the real journey, the healing, was only beginning. Legal analysts dissected every detail. Some applauded the airtight prosecution. Others questioned the defense's choices. But all agreed, this trial reshaped the boundaries of justice. It set a precedent for how darkness is exposed when truth refuses to back down. It all started with the missing persons report, just another file on a detective's desk. But as investigators followed the trail, what they uncovered wasn't just a disappearance, it was the gateway into a nightmare. A sinister puzzle that, once pieced together, revealed the darkest corners of a man who had lived in plain sight and hidden in shadows. This wasn't a random tragedy. This was a calculated descent into horror, carried out by someone no one ever suspected. At first, there was confusion. A mother who didn't return from the store. A college student who missed her final exam. A jogger who vanished on a sunny morning. Each case tragic. Each file open but cold. But there was a pattern. One only visible when someone finally dared to connect the dots. And those dots led straight to David Phelps. Once a respected voice in his community, a man known for his musical talent, his charisma, and his polished image, David Phelps was anything but ordinary. Behind closed doors, he hid a twisted compulsion. One that spanned years, leaving behind a trail of broken lives and unanswered questions. According to police records, the breakthrough came when a neighbor reported strange activity at Phelps' secluded home. A search warrant was issued. What they found shocked even the most seasoned investigators. Inside, the walls of his basement told a story. A sickening one. Boxes containing personal belongings of victims, purses, jewelry, clothing, items thought to be lost forever. Forensic teams uncovered trace evidence, hair, blood, fingerprints, all linking Phelps to multiple crime scenes across state lines. And then, the journals. In meticulous handwriting, Phelps had documented everything. Dates, names, methods, motives. This wasn't just a man committing crimes. This was a man obsessed with the details, who found control in recording his cruelty. But even as the evidence piled up, Phelps stuck to one claim. I was set up. Over and over he denied the accusations. He claimed the evidence was planted, that the journals were fiction, that someone was framing him. He painted himself as the victim of a complex conspiracy. But the forensic science said otherwise. DNA didn't lie. Nor did the tearful testimonies of families who had long feared the worst. The trial captivated the nation. Weeks of gut-wrenching testimony. Prosecutors laid out the timeline, introduced the evidence, and brought in expert witnesses. The defense tried to shift the narrative, arguing mental illness, character witnesses, and casting doubt on the integrity of the investigation. But the jury saw through it. After only 6 hours of deliberation, the verdict was unanimous, guilty on all counts. As the judge pronounced the life sentence, the courtroom fell into silence. You could hear the air change. Mothers clutching photographs of their lost children. Fathers with trembling hands. Some cried. Others simply closed their eyes, the weight of years finally crashing down. There was no celebration, no triumph, only the somber acknowledgement that justice, while delivered, came too late for many. Because this case wasn't just about one man's crimes. It was about how evil can wear a mask, how trust can be weaponized, and how communities can miss the warning signs until it's far too late. Each victim had a name, a story. They were daughters, sons, friends, neighbors. They had dreams, plans, people who loved them. Phelps' actions didn't just steal lives. They shattered generations. And no sentence, no matter how harsh, can undo that pain. Still, this case left behind more than devastation. It left behind strength. Families who stood tall and spoke truth in the face of unimaginable trauma. Investigators who never gave up even when the trail grew cold. Journalists who kept asking questions. And a justice system that, however flawed, ensured accountability. David Phelps will spend the rest of his life behind bars. But the echoes of his crimes, the lessons they teach, will continue to resonate. Because justice isn't just about punishment. It's about remembrance. It's about honoring the victims by refusing to forget what happened. So we tell their stories. We speak their names. We refuse to let silence be the final word. In the end, Phelps couldn't silence the truth. And the truth finally had its day.